Good evening to all our viewers and welcome to a brand new edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Department of Railways suffers 70 million rupee loss from strike action. Vasanta Samarasinghe speaks on the 10 billion rupee bank deal. Haturu Singha comments on those who are interfering with cricket.
Now the stories in detail. The Department of Railways says it has already lost 70 million rupees in revenue as a result of the trade union action by the railway employees. Railways Deputy Commercial Superintendent N.J. Indipola said the daily revenue of the department is approximately 17 million rupees.
Railway drivers, controllers, station masters and several other trade unions commenced a strike action on Wednesday evening due to the suspension of the cabinet paper on amending the salary anomalies that have been approved by cabinet. Train passengers were severely inconvenienced as a result of the situation. Today, only 3 trains were in operation, and this was the situation across many railway stations in the country. However, the department took measures to operate these trains using railway technical inspectors, and passengers travelled without any tickets. The distribution of mail and goods have also come to a standstill as a result of the trade union action. The Railways Deputy Commercial Superintendent said refunds will be made available for all passengers who book their tickets online. The Railway Services Joint Trade Union Secretary Sampath Rajita said around 100 trade unions oppose this trade union action. Though around 3,200 railway workers are engaged in this strike, more than 15,000 employees are engaged in their duties. The people assume the entire railway service is on strike. Yesterday, we announced that 15,000 employees are engaged in their duties, even in the control rooms. There are very talented engine drivers and assistants who can operate these trains as well. The authorities have not approved this move as yet. This could be an attempt to topple the government. As the Assistant Locomotive Operating Engineers Union, if we say that we can operate these trains, the government must pay attention to us. The government is the authority that supplies the service. Operating it. If one says the assistant locomotive operating engineers cannot operate a train, that is a lie. Does one need to have a degree to operate a train?
As a
government, we will never enter into any dialogue unless they let go of the strike action. We will remain in this stance even if they go on strike for 2 or 3 months. Drop this temporarily and give us 2 or 3 months, and within that period, we will be able to increase salaries. We are preparing the Gazette to announce the service as an essential one. We have not reached a decision yet. We are looking at avenues to put a stop to this action without announcing it as an essential service. I have proof to establish who is behind this. One person speaking over the telephone mentioned the name of a powerful person in the joint opposition and seeks an appointment. He said this can be dragged on for some more time.
Ruling party members commented on the railways trade union action today as well.
As a government, we established democracy within the country. Sadly, the trade unions have banded together and are making unwarranted use of it. We oppose inconveniencing the public. If this continues, we are prepared to deploy the 3 armed forces to solve this and declare it an essential service. The time has come for our leaders to make strong decisions. The people have become fed up of politicians as a whole.
We recall during the Mahinda Rajapaksa administration when there was a strike, the union leaders were taken away in white vans. There is no such thing happening today. At 4 in the evening, they decided to launch the strike at 5. The people who are already in Colombo cannot go home then. This is like a mafia. It did not even take them an hour to launch a strike action. Transport and medicine are 2 essential services. If they are going for a strike, the government must be prepared to solve it and accept the challenge to prevent it from recurring.
Some say the democracy is spilling over. Therefore, democracy is over its limit. Under the guise of democracy, the railway workers violated the democratic rights and human rights of the innocent children and the passengers in an unjust manner. We tell the minister the time has come to take a firm decision. There are many unemployed people who can work.
Construction of the new Kalani Bridge, which is aimed at solving the traffic congestion in Colombo and surrounding areas, is currently underway.
Heavy traffic is always reported during the rush hour when vehicles attempt to enter and leave Colombo via the Kalani Bridge. The new Kalani Bridge project was launched as a solution to this in 2014, and the 3-kilometer long bridge will be Sri Lanka's first ever state-of-the-art suspended bridge. The 6-lane bridge will run over the Kalani River with necessary interchange and access roads. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, is providing financial assistance of 35,020 million Japanese yen for the construction of this bridge.
Jehan Amaratunga is a member of the board of directors at the People's Bank. Amaratunga is also the executive deputy chairman of MDT Walkers PLC. The talk of the town today is a 10 billion rupee loan he took from People's Bank for MDT Walkers PLC. Now, is it legal and justifiable for someone who is a director of a state bank to secure a loan for a company in which he is also listed as a director?
People's Bank on several occasions in its clarification stressed that this transaction was done following the proper procedures. A statement from the chairman of People's Bank, Hemasiri Fernando, states the loan facility was granted after considering the business scope of the company and the repayment capacity of the company. Fernando's letter notes Jehan Amaratunga at MTD Walkers PLC are considered as separate legal entities before the law, and therefore there is no issue with respect to this transaction. According to what Hemasiri Fernando states, the People's Bank appears to have followed the regulations and other requirements of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. However, former senior banker Rusiripala Tennakon says there are many issues within this transaction itself. Tennakon has already sent a letter to the governor of the Central Bank requesting this matter to be resolved. According to Tennakon, when a loan to the tune of 10 billion rupees is being given to a company in which a director of the bank is also listed as director, the bank's audit committee must approve it. Since 2010, Jehan Amaratunga had been serving in the audit committee of People's Bank. Tennakon questions as to how can one say there was no influence from Amaratunga when this loan was given to MTD Walkers.
Now the person who has been questioned on with regard to this deal and the information is one Mr. Amaratunga, who has been a director of the bank from 2011-2012 period. Yeah. So he has been in the board of directors and he has continued unbroken in his position as the director of the People's Bank even under the present regime. So in the first place, this is a very strange set of affairs. No, I mean, we don't see any other director or a person who is continuing from that regime to this regime unbroken. And when it happens, when this person happens to be the chairman of the audit committee of the People's Bank, there is a requirement by the central bank that to an audit committee of the same bank.
So this person is seated in the same committee?
He is there as the chairman.
That itself is unethical?
That itself is unethical. But in the books of the bank, I was told by some bank employees that they were trying to trace where this 500 million debenture is reflecting. They say they can't see it. So therefore, if that is the case, it is going to be a very big series.
Didn't a similar incident take place with regard to the central bank treasury bond scam? It was revealed at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry the manner in which former central bank governor Arjuna Mahendran steered the auction in a manner that benefited his son-in-law's company. Are they not attempting to justify the interference of Jehan Amaratunga in this transaction just as they did with the bond scam rather than conducting an inquiry and pursuing the matter?
A director of People's Bank approves a loan of 10 billion rupees for himself. If he was a real gentleman, he could have obtained a loan from a separate bank. We can only assume that with the passage of time, this loan would become a non-performing loan.
The Ceylon Bank Employees Union points out there is an increase in political interference in state banks. The union states the chairman of People's Bank has been given an order via political intervention to promote 10,000 employees within 2 weeks.
The latest disease to take over state institutions is the attempt made to grant promotions and financial benefits to unsuitable persons under the guise of political persecution. This has spread to the state banks as well. In the recent days, state banks were sent a list noting the decisions of those who were subject to political persecution. It says to promote and grant financial benefits to unsuitable individuals. As a responsible union, we inform this to the government authority, stressing the fact that there is a proper system to be followed with respect to promotions. In the recent times, no one was treated in an unjust manner. We request this crime be stopped. They did not listen to us. We were forced to seek judicial assistance for this. We had to file a writ with the Court of Appeal against the People's Bank list. We wish to tell the government, the President and the Prime Minister that state banks are crucial centres in the economy and such actions would cripple them.
Lakshman Kiriyalla, the Minister of Public Enterprise, said such a list was never sent to the banks. However, the minister said that the party committee recommendations were sent to the Cabinet Minister. Why are ad hoc interventions made with respect to institutions that run on public funds? In the bond scam, the Bank of Ceylon, which is yet another state bank, placed a bid of 13 billion rupees on behalf of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, even when they had an opportunity to make profits for themselves. However, at the auction, only 3 billion rupees was accepted and the profits went to that company. People's Bank had given billions in loans to the company in which Jehan Amratunga is serving as the executive deputy chairman. A portion of the total loans were placed as a guarantee for MTD workers to secure the contract for the construction of Phase 2 of the Central Expressway. It is the state banks, including the People's Bank, that is providing loan facilities for the construction of this section as well. It is in fact astounding that the bank which funds the project had also provided a guarantee to the very company that was granted the contract. When we raised questions, the chairman of People's Bank addressed 2 letters on separate occasions to us with brief explanations. This time around, he had issued a very detailed explanation aimed at the weekend newspapers. The statement had been prepared giving a lot of thought, and efforts have been made to ensure there is wide publicity for it. Is there anything more shameful than attempting to protect the fraud and waste of public money? Chairman of People's Bank, by attempting to conceal such transactions and by attempting to protect those behind it, is it not your good name that is tarnished before the people? Jehan Amratunga is one who closely associated another known as Gamini Sinarath, who faces serious allegations with regard to serious acts of fraud and corruption that took place during the previous regime. Amratunga is appointed to the board of People's Bank with the blessings of Gamini Sinarath. Gamini Sinarath is in fact one of those who face indictments in the first case that is filed before the Special High Court that takes up cases of serious fraud and corruption. With whose blessings are people like Jehan Amratunga, who work closely with people like Gamini Sinarath, are attempting to engage in similar acts within this government as well. To chairmen of banks who have failed in preventing such transactions from taking place, the people call for their resignations. If that does not happen, the people who destroy public money will be subject to serious embarrassment in the presence of the general public in the near future.
We reported to you on the People's Bank saga and MTD Workers PLC. However, the consequences of the second bond scam are worse. Newsfirst Farah Shaukat Ali and Zulfiq Farzan join us now from the third studio.
The second bond scam in March 2016 was fixed by Perpetual Treasuries Limited to benefit only themselves, and it was done at the expense of the Employees' Provident Fund.
For this, Perpetual Treasuries used a series of intermediary companies to avoid detection of what their real intent and what they were really doing, which was to dump bonds on the EPF at very high prices, causing the EPF to lose money.
This system was viewed as a pattern of trading which was designed to mask the real beneficiary.
The intermediaries revealed before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into EPF were predetermined by perpetual treasuries, meaning they had inside information.
For us, the change for this was because it was the Prime Minister himself who insisted to change the system of issuing bonds in 2015.
That change of system, the Auditor General of Sri Lanka said, was not the least cost method of raising money for Sri Lanka.
Now, the real beneficiaries of this incident or this pattern were those behind Perpetual Treasuries Limited and also those who were involved in this by appointing individuals like Arjuna Mahendran to the post of Governor of the Central Bank, enabling Mahendran's son-in-law, Arjun Aloysius, to have his company benefit from this scam.
Let's remind you that it was the people's hard-earned monies that was lost at the EPF.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry has revealed that Perpetual Treasuries Limited had market-sensitive and price-sensitive inside information at these bond auctions, which they generated phenomenal profits, and they manipulated the market with the information that was given to them by Arjuna Mahendran.
This is very clear when we listen to the telephone conversations between PTL owner Arjuna Aloysius and his CEO Kasun Palisena.
It is also very clear that PTL had an inside man in the EPF by the name of Saman Kumara, who is currently interdicted. Now, Saman Kumara, in his testimony, had said that he sold bonds at very low rates and purchased them back at very, very high prices.
Various payments were made to several persons, including significant payments being made to a variety of officials, including parliamentarians.
The analysis on telecommunication devices done on the devices of Arjun Aloysius revealed that he was in contact with someone with the initials PM. Now, this could in fact be the initials of an individual, or it could mean the Prime Minister.
Perpetual Treasuries Limited made phenomenal profits because it purchased bonds at a very low price and then dumped them at very high prices to a willing and able buyer, Employees Provident Fund, EPF, the people entrusted with the people's monies.
For us, when we exposed the central bank bond scam in 2015, following continuous outcry from activists and our revelations, a presidential commission was appointed and later a report was also released.
There are questions surrounding the commission report itself, that it went to a private residence, for example, and many question what right, what on earth Austin Fernando, the presidential secretary, had to send this report to the National Archives, where it could potentially have been kept away from the public for a whole 30 years, the same period of the tenure of that 2015 bond.
In addition to that, after the Bond Commission report was presented to Parliament, it was MP M.A. Sumandivan who took the leadership to postpone the debate on the Bond Commission report, stressing that he needs a Tamil translation of this report, which is in fact surprising for us.
Absolutely. The question many have is this: how is it that Mr. Sumandiran appears to have difficulty in understanding English when most of his deliveries in Parliament and in court are in the English language?
Now, many in fact have raised serious concerns that such individuals should not be allowed to hold office at all.
The second bond scam has resulted in a colossal loss to the Employees Provident Fund and the government itself. Yet there are those making serious efforts to ensure that this is covered up and to remain out of the realm of accountability and responsibility, if not recovery.
News First will continue to expose all the details surrounding the bond scam. For now, it's back to the main studio.
Next is a look at Voice of the People.
Voice of the People. News from across the nation, reported by Newsfirst regional correspondents.
This is the Banalla Pier located in Thaligama Darniyagala. A large number of people living in the Banalla, Delgastanna, Palana, Poligampola and Valimandia villages use this canoe-like vessel to cross the Kalini River and reach the Thaligama town. At present, this vessel is in very bad shape and puts the lives of those who use it at risk. The arid weather had caused serious issues in accessing clean drinking water for several areas in the Anuradhapura district. Over 500 people living in the Puliyankulama, Pokkichia and Upper Puliyankulama areas are facing this issue. The people claim that almost all the water sources have dried up, which has left them helpless in accessing clean drinking water. These people depend on agriculture. However, for the past few seasons, they were not able to cultivate, which has made the issue even more serious. Moringa farmers in Damulla are facing a serious issue as a certain termite infection has affected their crops. Farmers point out that this could destroy all their cultivations.
Projects initiated under the Gamada Public Service Initiative in a bid to find solutions to the unresolved issues of the general public.
The Community Health Centre in Padikara Maduwa, Galanbinduruwawa in Anuradhapura was declared open on the 13th of July. Measures were taken under the Gammadda initiative to resolve the drinking water issue faced by the people of Moravakakanda in Nochiyagama, Anuradhapura on the 5th of July. The Poppitiya Bridge in Ududumbura Kandy was vested in the public on the 15th of June.
UNP parliamentarian Tushara Indunil expressed the following views on the railway trade union leaders who are currently on strike.
The joint opposition group, including Basil Rajapaksa, sitting in one corner and shedding crocodile tears. Basil Rajapaksa is steering this entire process behind Indika Dodangoda. The secretary of the Railway Drivers Union is a relative of Kumara Valgama. To Kumara Valgama we say, talk to your relative and tell him to stop using the innocent children and state workers as bait.
The MKDS Kunwarta Memorial and Town Hall in Kantale were declared open by President Maithripala Sirisena.
The construction of the memorial cost 170 million rupees. President Sirisena also declared open 9 water filtration systems constructed under the program to provide clean drinking water to kidney patients. The people living in these areas are not those who live in luxury. Most of the people in these areas spend all their lives in the paddy fields in scorching hot weather. We launched this as a separate project in 2016 with an allocation of 5 billion rupees. We have almost completed the program in this district. We have also launched a project on the main valves in the country. When we inaugurated the PB Demopolonaro project, I thought we also need to include the Trincomalee district in this development drive. With the monsoon rainfall expected in September, I believe we can reap the benefits of the construction of the Moragahakanda reservoir.
The President's Media Division announced today that 10 new Sri Lankan ambassadors and high commissioners have been appointed.
Under the new appointments, Dr. Dayan Jayathilaka has been appointed the new Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, while former Secretary to the President, Austin Fernando, has been appointed as Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India. In addition, Professor Arusha Kure has been appointed as ambassador to Norway. M.M. Jafir has been appointed as ambassador to Brazil. M.K.K. Girihagama as ambassador to Canada. C.A.H.M. Vijayratna as ambassador to Poland. S.S. Ganegama Arachi has been appointed as ambassador to Sweden and S.S. Premawardana as ambassador to Vietnam. Anuruddha Kumara Mallimarachi has been appointed as the new Sri Lankan High Commissioner to South Africa, while Nuruddin Mohammad Shahid has been appointed the High Commissioner to Pakistan.
The 105th model village of the Samata 7 housing project, which is built in the Siribopura area in Hambantota and has been named the Sandakiranagama model village, was vested in the public today. The event was presided over by Minister of Housing and Construction, UNP Deputy Leader Sajid Premadasa.
Monetary and material aid were distributed to low-income families in the area parallel to the program. Minister Premadasa thereafter visited the previous house of a beneficiary who obtained a house in the new Udagam manor.
The former president questions in parliament why the recommendations of the police commission are not implemented. The former president must have forgotten that for the first time in the history of this country, all the parties got together and brought in the 17th Amendment to the Constitution, and the good governance established the commissions. However, during his regime, he removed all the restrictions of his position and increased the powers through the 18th Amendment. He completely swept the commissions away. This is what you call double standards.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says democracy is getting alienated from the country. He made the statement at a ceremony in Galle to commemorate the 10th year death anniversary of former Minister Dr. Richard Pathirana.
I was watching from Parliament how the UNP was attacking the President indirectly. The main accused in the central bank bond scam is not here. A court was established. We knew they were doing this to suppress. Cases are being selected by ministers with the help of the Attorney General. If the cases are being filed at the request of ministers, this is suppression. They established the FCID, which is acting in violation of the law. When you look at all of these incidents, democracy
Mahinda Jayasinghe commented on the purchase of 125 chairs, each at a cost of 640,000 rupees for the Western Provincial Council, which convenes just twice a month.
They are planning to bring chairs by spending close to 650,000 rupees for each chair for the newly opened Provincial Council building. 650,000 rupees per chair. There are 104 members in the Provincial Council and they are planning to get down 125 seats. So they are planning to spend 80 million rupees for the councillors to place their bottoms for a council which convenes just twice a month. Isuru Devapriya is saying it is not 650,000 rupees, it is 640,000. We believe that a serious transaction of commissions must have taken place here.
Governor of the Western Province, Hemakumar Nanayakara, said a broad investigation will be conducted into the matter. Governor Nanayakara said he has ordered to temporarily halt the purchase of the 125 chairs. And Minister of Health and Nutrition and Indigenous Medicine, Dr. Rajita Senaratne, said measures will be taken to reduce the prices of another 26 medicines. The minister was addressing the Kalutara District Conference of the All Island Private Osusala owners.
I will control another 26 medicines. Around 2 days ago, I met the marketing board. They were not in agreement, but just listened. We will continue to control the prices of medicines. Cancer-related medicines are already being controlled. The government gets a profit of 7.7 billion rupees. Prices at private hospitals for around 40 medicines and treatment services are being controlled. This is being done because sometimes they set prices the way they want to.
Sri Lanka's cricket head coach Chandika Hathurusinghe says his side is well prepared for the fifth and final one-day international against South Africa tomorrow. South Africa has already secured the series 4-1 after having won the first 3 games, and Sri Lanka coming off with a narrow win in the 4th ODI in Pallekele.
The final ODI will be played as a day-night game at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium in Colombo. Addressing the pre-match media briefing, coach Chandika Hathurusinghe expressed the following views on the team's past performances and his future ambitions with the side.
When you lose about 36 matches and only 9 wins, it's not a tough call at all. It's about common sense, just looking at what we have been doing and why it's not working. And we have scored over 300 only 3 times, if I have my memory right. We sat down and had a look at what's our strategy, in the past and what we have achieved. It's a matter of time that we realize that what we need to do. It's not only the World Cup, it's about whatever we've been doing is not working. The biggest positive is winning, because we have been losing. It's not fun place to be in a losing dressing room. There's so many things you can think of when you're losing. People think, people putting finger in everything. In a situation like that, you tend to lose the sight of what you need to do. So winning gives you a bit of a comfort zone or the platform for you to think right.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.